It's been quite a year. As Lent was approaching, we were starting to hear about this thing called COVID-19 that was creeping into our country and our cities and our towns. It was forcing us out of public places and into the safety and isolation of our own homes. I don't think any of us could really have imagined that it was going to last through the spring and into the summer and into the fall of 2020. In the beginning especially, it was pretty unsettling.
When the quarantine started in March, I became really isolated.
When I first found out what COVID was, I felt extremely anxious.
So in March, the Stewardship Committee usually sits down and plans our activities for the upcoming year. And as we've done in the past, we were going to have a few restaurant fundraisers. Unfortunately, due to COVID, those had to be put on hold.
When I first realized that COVID was sending us into quarantine and we would have to close the church, I felt unsure of how outreach could support our mission. We were not able to host Family Promise families, and we were not able to prepare meals for Open Door.
We were just getting into our groove after Christmas, taking the kids out for Sunday school, and these times have just forced us to think out of the box.
When I first realized that COVID-19 was sending us into quarantine, I thought, this is an unbelievable way of being creative, perhaps, and finding new things to do, new ways of looking at things.
Early in the week of March 16th, I got a phone call from Jeff Lyon saying that he and Jim Shell had already been working on ways we could do live streaming worship. And he had been researching into Zoom and Facebook Live and thought that we could, with some planning that week, get together and provide a worship service on the up-and-coming Sunday through Zoom and Facebook Live. Jeff and Jim, Christina Martin, Phil Swanson, and Katie Welch and I got together and we practiced late in the week. And then on Sunday, we had our first live streaming service here at the Old Sloop. It wasn't perfect, but what made it wonderful is we were together. But after that service, we found we couldn't do it anymore in the sanctuary.
Back in March, when this all started, you know what people missed? They missed singing. I heard from so many people, we miss singing. And I'd see these virtual choirs on the internet, but they look so complicated. And I thought, well, that's just too hard.
I didn't see how it could be all that hard, so I decided to try an experiment.
Christina and I saw that and said, wow, how about trying something for Easter?
This Easter celebration is not like ones we've known.
By Easter, the Old Sloop had begun to adjust. Virtual church, virtual choir, and we continued to adapt to the changing seas.
After enjoying a few virtual worship services that Derek, Jeff, Jim, Phil, and others worked so hard to put together, we realized that it would be helpful to incorporate an offering plate. So we created a virtual offering plate, and Jeff put a link into Derek's weekly message that has allowed members to continue their pledges very simply, and it's been especially easy for our new friends who have joined virtual worship through Facebook or Zoom.
First of all, before March of this year, I had never heard of Zoom. Since then, I've probably used it 50 times. I like Zoom. It's very easy to use, And you don't have to get dressed up or go anywhere to attend a meeting, which is the best thing.
Who would have dreamed that things would have progressed to this point, where now I send them the music and recordings. Their mothers play them in the car, they listen in the car, we have a Zoom meeting, a Zoom rehearsal, and we review the songs. And then a couple days later, the kids send me their videos and I put them together, and that's what you see on Sunday mornings. We're kind of delighted with what we're able to do.
Due to COVID-19, Book Group began meeting via Zoom. This summer we focused on reading Waking Up White by Debbie Irving to help us understand racism better by exploring white privilege in our lives and examining how we can break down the walls of racism by reshaping our beliefs, behaviors, and ideas. We now hope to discover our power to help make the world a more humane place to live together.
Katie Welch and I have been working on a few different things, and together we bring you different programs, places where members of the community can come together, learn from each other, grow their faith deeper, and support one another. These programs are our Lectio Divina Bible study on Wednesdays at 5, our Old Sloop storytelling time, which is just a wonderful time to learn and grow together, and that is on Wednesdays at 3. We have a beautiful Friday afternoon prayer service every week at 4 o'clock.
I truly missed the people I'd been meeting with twice a week, and I needed something to fill that void. I decided to join the Wednesday afternoon storytelling group at the church and the Friday afternoon prayer group. Those two groups, along with Sunday worship, gave a real structure to my life and mean that I always have something positive to look forward to and a place where I will see some of my friends.
Each week, for me, there are moments of great comfort when I am able to join you, my beloved Rockport congregational family, in worship on Zoom.
Zoom is good, but it isn't perfect. We all miss our friends who don't use technology or those who just can't get used to Zoom worship. And I think we all miss seeing each other face to face. We miss coffee hour. Personally, I miss the babies.
Hi! Yeah! It's very disappointing that we couldn't have a rummage sale this year. This is a project that the whole church usually gets behind, whether you need to clean out a closet or whether you fold a few sweaters and bring them down. It's a large undertaking, but so many in our community enjoy getting a deal. They enjoy participating. We have people come from far and wide just to join us. And I really missed a lot of the camaraderie that we have with many of the people that are doing the cleanup and the setting up of the rummage.
Sadly, the 2020 Old Sloop Fair was one of the casualties of the pandemic. The Old Sloop Fair, which has been held since 1957, is one of the biggest annual fundraisers for our church. In addition, setting up and running the Old Sloop Fair builds friendships between all of the volunteers. In the year ahead, we can take this opportunity to look for a different way to hold the fair by reaching out for new involvement and new ideas.
So hopefully next year we'll have a good outpouring of support.
Optimism, resilience, and we continue to find or create silver linings in the COVID cloud.
Our sanctuary now has 4 cameras and mics so that when we return to in-person worship, we will be able to continue to do live streaming at the same time.
Through these opportunities, we've been able to see each other in a different light and get to know different sides of people. It's been a blessing to be able to get to know each other on a deeper level and to grow during this time. We've been able to keep in contact with our young adults who are spread throughout the country. I wonder, why haven't we been doing this the whole time? But now we can continue to do this.
For many years, there's been a near universal recognition that our website is in need of a little bit of a facelift. And a couple of years ago, we got a great committee going to focus on this effort. And while COVID-19 presented challenges such as meeting remotely and juggling extra responsibilities at church and at home, the pandemic also showed us just how important our online presence can be, especially when we can't connect in person the way we're used to. So thanks to our team's steadfast efforts, we've made great progress and plan to launch the new website before the end of 2020, so in the next couple of months. It's our hope that the new website will allow us to better connect with one another, improve the coordination of our social networking and marketing, share the great work our church is doing through its ministries, and give those seeking a new church community a better glimpse inside what the Old Sloop has to offer.
Regina Reese saw a need by listening to parishioners calling in and talking to her, getting information, that a number of people were still afraid to go out to grocery stores to shop. So with much hard work and devotion and love, she developed the Old Sloop Landing, a program where people can order their groceries online. They are delivered to the church on a Wednesday, and people are able to come and, wearing masks and safe social distancing, are able to pick up their groceries.
Some of the changes have been bittersweet.
While we would love to gather at the church and feel our voices wafting up in the resonance of that magnificent arched ceiling, this is an unsurpassed exercise in making the best of imperfect circumstances.
I love singing in the virtual choir. It's not quite as wonderful as being together with the people, wonderful people in choirs.
We all know that wonderful hymn sung around Thanksgiving, "We gather together." And that's been one of the most difficult things about this time is we can't gather together in the same space, in the sanctuary, in Fellowship Hall. And I know the choir is feeling that very deeply, as is the rest of the congregation. So we adapt.
You know, I've been watching these stewardship videos for the past 3 weeks, and I'm feeling a whole lot better. They've done a great job highlighting the creativity and the resilience that so many people have shown over the past year, just to keep the Old Sloop afloat. And over the past several months, month after month, with all of the stuff that's been going on, our pledges have remained current, and that's really amazing, and that's a testament to the members of the congregation. The trustees sincerely thank you for all of your support with that. At some point, we will start having small groups again within the church buildings, and as we open the buildings and start using them, the building operation expenses will start to go up again. Right now, they're very low because we haven't been using them much. Thinking about larger gatherings, public gatherings, that's very questionable, and that would mean that our major fundraiser, the Old Sloop Fair, may not happen again for the second year in a row. With all of the increases in expenses and questionable fundraising, in order to maintain a balanced budget, we do feel the need to request an additional 3% from pledges for next year.
My pledge for this coming year will be the most nourishing and sustainable gesture I've made in months. One based solely on faith. I believe in the future of the Old Sloop, and I believe God will be with us and our country.
If you've made a pledge in the past, please do again this year. If you haven't, consider making a first-time pledge or donation to support the worship and ministries of the First Congregational Church of Rockport. We thank you.
We all look forward to the day when the choir can meet up again in Fellowship Hall on Wednesday nights and join you on Sundays, and we can all be in the sanctuary and sing, "We Gather Together."
How all of this is going to shake out is very unclear. But there's one thing that we do know. 2020 has taught us that this church community will pull together and see us through.
We continue to be the church.
We are still reading.
We are still reaching out.
We're still singing.
We are still worshiping.
And we are still giving.
Friends, God is still speaking, and we are still listening. Amen.